This is my life with albinism.
Now, this is my life with albinism.
And this is my life with albinism.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Life with Albinism. I'm your host, Dale.
I'm Avery.
And we have a new guest today. I actually met this young man maybe about 2 years ago, and it's just been really difficult. You know, he's in college and stuff like that, so it's been difficult trying to catch him, but we got him here today, so I'm going to let him introduce himself. So introduce yourself, let the people know who you are. If you want to, you can let them know your social medias, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, hi, my name is Julian, and my handle for Instagram is tato.julian with an A. I'm 22, I'm in college, and I have albinism, of course. And I thought that when I was brought this opportunity to speak on albinism and speak with people who have albinism like me, I thought it was a really once in a lifetime chance. So I'm really happy to be here, actually.
That's
Definitely.
dope, and we are definitely happy to have you here, man.
Absolutely.
I got a question. I'm gonna start off with that. Hold on, I'm sorry.
You said you knew him for 2 years. Why am I just meeting him?
Well, because it's just the scheduling, right? It's
Okay.
like one thing about this show, it's very hard to schedule because it's three of us, right?
Yeah,
Me,
yeah.
Jason, and Avery. And we all have lives, we all have
Different
you know,
things that
relationships,
we're- yeah.
different things going on. So it's not easy getting three people on the same accord and then a top on top of the guest.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So
You know.
and as he knows, I've been trying to get him on the show for a while, and then he lives all the way in Staten Island.
That's
so
another part.
Yeah, yeah.
the scheduling was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
difficult
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
that,
yeah.
you know. But we got him here now, so
That's all that matters, you know.
now I want to ask you, man, how has living with albinism been for you? Did you go through a lot of struggles? Did you go through any bullying? Do you have family members with albinism?
So I would say yes to all those questions.
To everything.
Yeah.
So I did go through a lot of bullying growing up. They called me every name that you could possibly think of, and then some new ones that you'd never think of.
Okay.
Let's see. I do have a cousin who's maybe 5-6 years younger than I am. And he has albinism. He's the only one that I know in my family that has albinism. But I think there was one other one that was too early in my life to properly remember. Let's see. But albinism has been difficult because you either experience people's reactions from how they perceive you in a very positive way, almost too positive, or extremely negative way, and there's no real in between. It's only either side of that spectrum, and it would be really nice to just experience life in that in between of perception, not being serious.
Okay, so I'm gonna just ask you, when you say negative and positive, and then you said there's no in between. What is an in between to you?
In between to me would be nobody paying you any mind at all.
Okay, I mean,
Being able to walk without having a head like turned or like feeling eyes on you. In between to me would be
Okay, I see.
yeah, I get it, but I mean, you know, I think the more you go through life, and you accept, you know, this is me.
yeah.
You don't feel them eyes on you no more. If that makes sense.
Like
You know what I mean?
like
feeling
more
it
Like
less
yeah,
and
like
less.
it's like you're
Yeah.
kind of blind to it. You know what I mean? And I think that's where we as a community need to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just people is going to stare, and even you know, I stare at other things. You know, other people when something weird is. You know, because I don't know.
Yeah.
So obviously, your first reaction is to look and just you know you're curious. Do you like being an outcast? Not an outcast, but you know, yeah,
Being
outcast.
different.
Yeah, different.
Yeah. That's funny because I think like 2 weeks ago I had a dream that I got my melanin back.
Really?
And I'm not joking.
Okay.
A dream?
But I look so serious. And I was like,
That's
man,
so
I look
unique.
so
I wonder
good.
if anyone else has. If anybody else with albinism had that same dream,
Yeah.
please comment
Yeah,
and tell us.
please.
Really, it was so interesting.
Did you
Because
see yourself? Like, did you look in the mirror?
I did.
And how did you look?
I was like, wow, I look good.
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna say this, right? This may sound weird, but I would be more attractive if I had melanin.
I feel like that might be.
You know what? I would have to disagree with you because I feel like I am the sexiest thing alive. I ain't
But
gonna,
would you
not even.
not be
power to
sexier
No.
if you had melanin?
I don't think I would. I would look like a
I-
typical black guy. You know what I mean? Like I would just. You know what I mean?
Now that
Like,
is
it just-
true. You wouldn't stand out anymore.
No, you would just you just
would
be like,
be
hey,
more-
what's up? Like you know what I mean? Like I need to be like,
But-
oh, wow. Like even when I'm on the bus or anything, you know what I'm saying? People double look when I'm standing next to them, and I'm like, and I peep it, but I'm on my phone, and I'm like,
That's what I try to do too.
I love it.
But
Like
you
I
know-
see it, but I don't pay attention. It don't faze me no more.
But you know
what I mean?
but that's interesting though because without melanin, you naturally look different, right? And it doesn't quite look normal, right? So we probably would look more attractive with melanin because the normality would be there.
Conventionally attractive.
Right. Conventionally, right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but what Avery's saying, which is also interesting too, is that you would lose the uniqueness.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you probably would be more attractive, but then you would lose the uniqueness of standing out.
Yeah.
And then that probably does add to the attractiveness too, right?
It does because
there's certainly people.
It's the
right.
Mystery of
Right.
people
And then it's the
wanting to know what you are, like what do you mix with. You
Well,
know?
I'm even speaking just visually attractive because we are
Oh,
more
just the
visually
optics of
attractive
it.
to things that look different to us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
kind of like how the thing with ethnicities, right? Like how an American guy might find a Puerto Rican girl to be super attractive because he may
That
not be
difference.
used to seeing that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
difference.
yeah.
So I guess it's like, it's like kind of like in between.
Yeah.
You know.
But from my point, I love it. You know, every day I wouldn't change it for nothing.
Oh, we
Now,
all,
if
we
I
all
can-
love it.
Yeah,
we
no,
all love it.
Well,
I
can't
mean,
say
everyone at this table.
Yeah,
loves
yeah,
it.
okay, yeah,
Everyone at this
yeah.
table loves it.
Growing up, it was hard to love it. It
Really?
certainly was
Now
hard to love it
talk
for
about
me.
Yeah.
that because for me, just talking for myself, it was never hard for me to love it only because my parents, my mom really installed into me, hey, you're not different. You may look different, but that doesn't matter. You're still black. You're still my son. You're still part of this family. So she kind of coached me through it at a very young age. So I never had to go through that transition of not liking it and then soon loving it. Can
Yeah.
you talk about that from your perspective?
So my mom would call me a little white boy. So it was
No,
very different
come
from.
on, are you
I'm so
serious?
serious. It was very different from that confirming.
Okay.
She would be.
Was
like,
she doing that playfully, or was
playfully,
she like?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
she wasn't trying to be malicious.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Okay.
She
Continue.
always told me that I was like her gift because I was also born on Christmas. So
Oh,
she
wow.
was
My birthday's
Wow.
Christmas Eve.
really?
That's
No
crazy.
way. That's
No,
what's up.
seriously,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, that's
Christmas
cool.
Eve and Christmas. Wow.
Look
Okay.
at that,
Okay.
see?
Continue.
Now you gotta get him a gift.
Honestly, we might have to do a little gift exchange. For
Let's do that.
You know? But it was definitely hard, mainly because of how people outside of my family took it. People inside of my family, like my mom, my sister, and my dad, they were all like very supportive, and for the most part, which personally what I appreciate, like they didn't even mention it.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
It was just like family life.
Yeah.
There was this little running joke that it didn't make sense, but it was a running joke that like my mom cheated on my dad or something, and it was
Yeah, you
it was,
get
it was
that.
like a horrible.
Yeah.
You're gonna get that. Oh, your mom slept with a white man.
Yeah.
You know.
So most of the trouble started with school, and that's when the typical bullying happens,
bullying.
and that's naturally where you'll find.
So how was work, doing your work and the class and seeing the board, all that? Can you describe that?
I'm really glad I have people to talk to about this.
Yeah, right. Let it out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this was it.
I would have like a set seat in the front of the class
Same.
to see the board. When the tests came out, they were in like this extra large paper.
Yep.
Yo, everybody has it.
Everybody
I have
loved
yet
it.
to have someone on this podcast who did not have that same story.
Yeah.
It's like a rite of
that
passage.
large
Yeah,
book
that's-
that's the
yeah,
size
you
of your
have to,
forearm.
yeah.
They come, they drop it on the table
Yeah.
like this. Like, here you go, and the whole
They
class
make
is
it
looking at
all
you like,
obvious,
you
like,
know,
yeah, like,
yeah, like
this
man,
is for
I used to
him.
whisper- Right.
You would hear the paper like,
word,
You
like,
know, like I used to whisper to my teacher, tell her like, listen, can you get the book quietly? Can you just quietly get the book, like,
just
because she used to be like, all right, let's go get Dale's book,
Yeah.
and then come and drop it
Yeah,
off.
like-
You know what I mean? And then of course the teasing, because then the
Yeah.
kids would be like, oh, Dale got the big book, you know, or whatever joke they would say.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, everyone has had that story.
it's nice to know that other people have had it too. Yeah.
oh, definitely. I didn't have a lot of bullying, but you know.
Personally, I like the larger format because I have more note space, taking space, and that was just like, it was always like a positive thing for me, less than like an embarrassing kind of like I wish I had like a normal size paper, but also it just made it easier for me to see.
Yeah.
In terms of vision, I have okay vision. I'm very lucky to say that. But there are some things that come with albinism that, like, I guess glasses can't really fix.
Yeah, I hear that a lot too. Yeah, some people are like, glasses help me a lot, and some
Yeah.
people they're like, glasses don't help at all. Touch on too that you mentioned that was very interesting, which was like, you mentioned how as a person with albinism, when you interact with other people, you always get the polar opposites. You either get people that's overly nice to you because you have albinism, or people that are like overly mean to you or judge you or bully you or whatever the case is. And I wanted to speak to that because I think that's so interesting, because that's how it was for me. Like, maybe not so much now, because right now the only thing that really happens in my life is like family stuff and work. So in a professional setting it doesn't happen so much because we're a lot older, but going through school, going through college, going through life in general, it was exactly how you described. It was either people were overly nice to me out of sympathy,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or people were like overly mean or bullying, or it was never, like you said, it was never the in-between. It was never like,
not the
oh,
gray
that's
area.
Dale, he's in,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
no gray area.
Yeah, no gray
It was
area.
never, oh, that's Dale,
Yeah.
oh God.
I've never wanted gray so bad, you know.
Right. You know, and just to touch on that just a little bit more, for me, sometimes it became hard to know if a woman was actually attracted to me or not. Because a lot of times they would be overly nice, not because they liked me, but because of the albinism.
Yeah.
And even with dudes too, like there were times where certain guys would, like plenty of dudes would just want to be my friend, but again, out of sympathy, not because they thought I was cool or something.
Yeah.
And then the same thing in the polar opposite, where you will get the bullying from people that you don't even know, or
Yeah.
people that you don't even know will judge you. And so even if it's not bullying, it would be things like, oh, you don't look like you could do this, or you don't look like you could do that. So, like you said, growing up, for me, it was never the gray area. It was always they're either super nice or super mean
Yeah.
or judgmental.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What do you say to that?
I definitely agree. There's no, like you said, there's no in between.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why I say with this community, with our community, you have to kind of build that tough skin. You know what I mean? Because we live in a world where people always have criticism for everything, whether you're doing good, bad, whatever. It's just you have to just roll it off the shoulder and keep it going. You know what I mean? Like, so I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that a lot of people growing up with albinism, the younger crowd, should be aware of. Is like there are going to be people that's going to be really mean to you. There are people that's going to be really nice to you, and you can't take either one too seriously.
Yeah.
Like you can't, have someone treat you bad and then think the world is over.
Yeah.
You have to. One thing about bullying, not to say that bullying is good, but there's a good aspect behind it, which is bullying teaches you not everyone's the same and not everyone's going to like you. And that's important to know about, because you're going to go through real stuff like college and a career where you have to learn. Not everyone's gonna like me. Not everyone's gonna treat me the same. Not everyone's gonna look like me. You know, so that's the important part. And same thing with the opposite, which is people being overly nice to you. You can't take it too serious. You can't think that because these people are being nice to you that they're genuinely interested or that they genuinely like you. Sometimes they just see the albinism and they think pity.
They just see the albinism.
Right.
They don't
Just
see Dale.
Right.
I see
Right.
exactly what you're saying. And I think that Avery was absolutely correct. Having that thicker skin, having things like just roll off your shoulders and not letting it seep too much into you.
I say that, you know, just in general, but I think because, you know, I grew up in the city kids were very like harsh, you know what I'm saying?
New York is not for the soft.
You can't be soft living in New York, you know what I mean? So in that aspect, you have to kind of just roll with the punches, but at the same time be able to give your own shots back, you know what I mean? So it's a lesson within itself, you know what I mean? And you just got to know what direction you're headed in, and you can't, you know what I mean, let people's criticism get the best of you, you know what I mean? So
I grew up and I was born in Staten Island. And speaking of like city kids, I would say that Staten Island's the only borough that's the furthest from like that type of
everything.
Literally.
It's the only one that doesn't have any subway systems as well.
Really?
No subway systems.
I never thought about that. Yeah, Staten Island doesn't have any trains.
Yeah, no trains. They've got a what's it called?
Y'all got Charlie.
They got the ferry.
They've got the ferry
in and out.
They've got the what's it called?
They got buses.
The Staten Island Railroad. They've got that. It's like a little train that's on top above ground.
Little Charlie's like they.
Little Charlie.
Philly stuff like that. They have
Right. So no subways and like the environment and like personality of everyone there is so different. And so when I started to get into Manhattan towards like the end of high school, was really only one time I started getting to Manhattan.
Okay.
I started to see people's perception a lot more. Like on the very positive side, it was only until I was on my way to a chemistry midterm did someone stop me and say, "Hey, you have a nice look. You look amazing. Take my card and see me in my office. I want to see if I can scout you to be a model." And I was like, "That's not something that I thought."
So you didn't entertain it?
I entertained it.
And what happened?
And right now I'm currently signed with a modeling agency.
Wow.
Yo, get out of here.
Oh,
Serious?
I'm very serious. Yeah.
There you go.
You never mentioned that.
That's very important
What,
detail.
you like humble about it or something?
Because I never expected to enter that career field. I never.
Was this recent?
Yeah, about the action.
This was at the maybe like day one of COVID. What's it called?
Oh, during the lockdown.
Bringing us into lockdown.
Okay.
Day one of lockdown,
okay. So about 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was quite some time ago. They had actually evicted the students from the dorm rooms to make room, make like makeshift hospitals, because the hospitals at that time, if you remember, was so packed.
Yeah.
My aunt, she's a nurse, and she was just telling me stories about it.
So what agency are you signed to?
I'm currently signed with an agency called Talent.
Is that not the same agency that India is with?
Yeah, I believe it is.
India. So his girlfriend, India, she's actually a model too.
That's amazing.
Just so you never modeled with another album
person? No.
Really?
They in my modeling history, they put me in with typically, if it were to be a duo, it would be someone who has a lot of melanin to have that contrast.
They do that typical thing too. It's like the person with albinism and then this really dark person, and then they always put them side by side. It's so cliche.
I feel like after the second time that they had me do it, I was like, all right, let's.
All right, you got a new idea.
Yeah, exactly.
So how robust is that modeling career for you? Is it something you do a lot? Is it like sporadic?
It was something that I did a lot, and that I'm kind of on a cool down for right now. But I am currently, getting more representation for other agencies. So I have one in, I believe, Toronto, Canada. I have one in Georgia, and it's just like building them up.
Okay.
My manager is very,
There
very,
you go.
Wow.
very good with that.
Is the pay good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't complain. Just last
They
year,
need another model.
I was just about to say.
Hey,
I was just about to
listen,
say.
he can do it.
I think he can. I think
Yeah.
he absolutely
Yeah,
can.
so
Yeah.
thank you. I'll be down to. I'll be definitely willing to give that a try. You know,
It's
step
not.
out my lemon pepper. You
And
know,
I feel
steppers,
like,
you
and
know?
that's another thing. I feel like people with albinism almost always get questioned to do
Yeah.
modeling. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Jason said the same thing, that there were times where a photographer would stop him and be like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
it's so
Go
unique."
to
Let me.
photographer stop.
Yeah, you know, so that happens a lot to people with albinism. So I guess that'll be our question too. If you have albinism and you've been asked to model, let us know. Comment down below. Make
Or
sure
if
y'all
you do model, what agency are you with? Let me know. I need
make
to know.
sure you guys comment, subscribe. You know, this is going to be your favorite channel for all albinism content.
Yes.
Um,
Any questions? Hit us up in our DMs, direct message, and yeah.
Now, our last segment that I want to do before we end, I want to start bringing in current events.
Sure.
Okay, so as you guys know, there's been a lot of recent mass shootings at school. So I wanted to ask, for you guys, as people with low vision, how would you manage a scenario like that if you were, let's say, you're in a school?
Well, one, that don't happen in New York. That's one. You ain't never heard no one.
Yeah, I never heard of a mass school shooting.
Because it don't happen in the city. That's
Right.
why. You know what I'm saying? Because we got parents that stay on it. I feel like, those scenarios that happen, and it's very unfortunate and whatever. But it's always in the South somewhere.
Yeah,
you
in the
notice it. You know what I mean?
And I noticed that like high schools here or like schools here in the city, they have like immense security.
Yeah,
Like,
you know what I mean?
That's true.
Every
So,
student has to walk through.
Yeah,
detect
metal
everything like that.
detectors, security guards at every exit. You know what I'm saying? There's none of that like, oh, Jimmy's gonna go to the bathroom for a half an hour.
Right.
And, you know what I mean?
So really quick, what would be your way to maneuver that scenario as a person with low vision? If you're in a situation like that, how would you maneuver?
I believe school.
So that would be your idea. Would be like, what
Back
is the
door.
nearest escape?
Yeah.
What about?
In my, I guess, training, which is wild to say, but I've had training for this.
You got training for that?
In school, yeah.
Oh, in
they,
school.
They trained
Okay.
us for this.
Really?
Hard lockdowns, soft lockdowns. Anybody that's,
See, that's that Staten Island stuff right there. We don't have training for that in the city.
they teach us to like lock the doors, turn off the lights, close the blinds,
Okay.
stay hidden. Yeah, under the desk, and don't open the door for anybody because the only person that has access to enter has the key already. So it doesn't matter if someone's like outside saying, "Hey,
Oh, that
it's
makes
me,
sense.
let me
That
in,
makes
let me in."
sense.
Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of like scenarios that my school growing up put me through to better prepare myself for that event. I'm very, very thankful that I've never had that come to pass here. I've never had to use that training before,
Now, I don't mean to cut you off. It just, is that practice or is that traumatizing? I feel like that would be traumatizing. No, like you wake up to go to school to learn, and then you just hit with random scenarios of,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
that's true. I see what you're saying, because it's like, as a young kid, you're going to school to learn. You're not there like, well, what if somebody shoots up my
Yeah,
school?
like,
You know what I mean?
like
That's true.
I think that's a very good question.
Yeah, like,
And I think for me, of course, I might be a little. I don't want to say nervous, right? Because I'm not really nervous as much, but I know that my vision plays a factor. So if I was a person in school and it was an active shooter situation, because I have low vision, I'm not going to see who's way down the hallway with a gun. So my first thought would be how. I would like try to maybe lock myself in a closet
That's the first thing they teach
or
you.
right, something like that. Simply because I don't have the vision to see where the intruder is, if he's way down the hallway, if he's, you know what I mean. So that would be
you would try to hide. I'm trying to find it. I'm just trying to hide just so. Because I know
I think you said you're trying to get out.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out, but I'm gonna definitely try to hide if I can't get out right then and there.
And
I'm gonna hide in the area that he's not least expecting to look at. You know what I mean? Like the lunchroom. No one cares about the lunchroom when you in the, you know what I mean? Like the gymnasium. Like you know, they
That is kind of true. They're gonna run in the classroom.
Yeah, they're gonna run in the classroom.
They're not gonna go to the gym.
You know what I'm saying? They're gonna go to the bathroom. You know, maybe the bathroom.
Maybe the bathroom.
Yeah,
Right,
maybe.
yeah, maybe.
But the nurse's office, no one cares about the nurse's
Right.
office. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to hide in places they would not expect it. And when they're on the other side of the building, then I'm going down the steps and out the first exit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's my thing. I can't.
Well, I can't thank you enough, man. This was an amazing episode.
Definitely,
It's an
man.
amazing
Glad to have
episode.
you on here, man. Definitely.
Guys, don't forget to subscribe. Also,
Like,
share.
comment.
Yeah, and stay tuned. We have so much more news for you guys. Big events, big announcements. Stay tuned to lifewithalbinism.com. You can check out all of our content, all of our merch. We have tons of new merch now. We have new keychains, new hats, new shirts, and magnifiers. We're gonna shoot some short clips and some short commercials for you guys. So stay tuned. Thank you.